A turning point in history. That's how the Finance Minister sold the government's long-awaited emissions reduction plan. But slashing our emissions is not going to come easy or cheap, initially costing $2.9 billion. That includes $1.2 billion for transport, with almost half of that going towards helping families scrap and replace their old gas guzzlers with low-emitting vehicles. $710 million is earmarked to help agriculture reduce its emissions, and $1 billion is going towards the energy sector. And as political reporter Amelia Wade explains, it's polluters picking up the tab.
This is it.
Today is the most significant day in our country's history on climate action.
The moment the government says your life will change because of this doorstop of a document.
Really? I hope it does. For the better.
I can't say I'm going to expect a big change happen just because this has been announced.
Whether I've been desperate for it, I'm not sure, but keen to know what their answers are.
Grant Robertson now has his emissions answers, and to pay for it, he's making it rain cash for the climate.
The largest investment in climate protection New Zealand has ever seen.
Almost $3 billion, but no debt needed. The government's using a new $4.5 billion fund paid for by the emissions trading scheme, aka polluters.
It is a turning point in history now, where either we invest to tackle climate change now, or we prepare to pay for the costs of inaction.
Almost half of it is going towards getting Kiwis out of their beloved gas guzzlers.
What's stopping you from making the switch?
I guess it's availability and cost at the moment.
Because I'm a poor uni student.
The initial purchase price.
So, $569 million is going to a new scrap and replace scheme, subsidising low and middle income families to ditch their clunkers for an EV. Then there's $20 million for a pilot to lease EVs to Kiwis who can't afford a new car. To get Kiwis out from behind the wheel altogether, there's a new $350 million Transport Choices Fund for cycleways, walkways and greener and better public transport. And to ensure there are actually people there to drive the buses, $61 million will be spent on improving drivers' pay and conditions, and $40 million to make sure more buses doesn't mean more pollution. A lot of cash, and yet, where's the half-price public transport?
Well, what you've seen here today is a plan that goes across the emissions budgets.
A plan Rod Carr says is only as good as the action it inspires.
High emissions lifestyles are going to cost you more money. High emissions livelihoods are going to be more vulnerable to disruption.
ACT leader David Seymour, experiencing a little disruption of his own, disgruntled.
The most expensive and bureaucratic path to emission reductions imaginable.
It's incredibly light on detail. There's 400 initiatives in here at a cost of almost $3 billion.
It is a plan like no other, and its significance cannot be underestimated.
Only if it works, and only action and time will tell that.
Well, kia ora, Amelia. So the Finance Minister seemed to brush over reducing public transport fares. Is that still on the cards?
Well, Mike, our first emissions deadline is just 3 years away, so the government is yanking on the quickest lever to get us there, and that is slashing how much New Zealanders pollute, just getting from A to B. But one of the key actions in this plan of actions, reducing public transport fares, is missing. And I understand there is still more to come on public transport, but there was a scramble last week as to whether to announce it today or whether to hold it over till Thursday and announce it with the budget as part of a cost of living initiative. It appears they've gone with the latter, a sign that the government too is also feeling the pressure of the cost of living crisis.
Amelia Wade live from Parliament, Tanakwe.